Kia ora te iwi. What's up and hope everyone's well. Just some post-match thoughts on my way to do some shopping, actually. Some breakfast shopping. Get some pancake mix for the whānau. It feels like a bit of pancakes sitting in bed today. So you do a little bit of that. But just some thoughts on the game. First of all, I want to acknowledge the effort the boys put in. I thought it was a massive, team effort to, really put in for that. 7 or 8 guys out. Debutant EIT, thought he did a great job. Mix and match team, Tane at the back who worked hard. CNK to the centres. A lot of movements, probably a lot of impact on that because of that reason. But I overall thought it was a really hearty performance. I think everyone, for me watching it, I thought it was fantastic. The ball was getting moved around a lot. The boys played expansive. Jackson Ford off the kickoff, passes out to RTS, who then goes and line breaks and offloads. And Healy was very energetic from the middle. A lot of support play happening. And then we get to a position where we get in front, and it's warranted, and we work hard, but it breaks down towards the end there. And credit to the Dolphins, they just had that little bit of extra energy. They had the extra fight in them. We didn't shut down that final play. I was really disappointed with that. We just didn't put bodies to kind of solve issues, and look, I think we got caught out in the end by I suppose you could say a better team. But I love the energy, I love the effort. There was just some really good attacking flow. I think Dallin scored 2 well organised tries from set plays. Tanner Boyd probably had a hit and miss game, just some dead options on 5th tackle, and thought Tamaiti worked hard. Thought Tane from fullback worked really hard, but he got you could see where he kind of got shut down tonight. Although I loved his energy, he was really working and pushing hard to be involved, and so I thought he was really, really good in that sense. CNK did looked a bit banged up as well, but he did a decent job at centre. Roger was massive, 330 something metres I saw from all reports, and just the forwards, I think we're just still lacking. You can see the defensive discipline isn't the same as such. I mean, they bombed maybe 2 or 3 tries. Dallin saved one intercept. Nikodima bounced it off the ground, so that was a miss. Farnworth had a line breaker try that he could have easily got, and he pulled a hamstring. Tane doing that cat and mouse work that he's been doing lately is awesome though. Then you had so many others potential tries as well. To stay in that game and survive and then get in the lead was awesome in my opinion. But there's just that overlying issue with the halves, I think. Not the halves as such, sorry, but just the middles. They just can't seem to get that dominance in the middle of the field. And, we're still leaking a lot of yardage through the middle. I think a lot of people are attacking in behind the A and Bs, behind the ruck, and it's teams are getting a roll on. But it felt for a good period in that second half. We were really pinning them back. Our defensive energy picked up. The Leka try really helped. We need one of those per game because we're kind of a low-scoring team. I thought Aaron Clark was immense. Yeah, the goal line attack still isn't top tier to break down anything, but to be in a position to win it and then lose it at the death. Look, it swings and roundabouts, as we say. It all, we had our moment against the Knights, and it happens against us at the end there. So that's what the game is sometimes. But my main issue is just fatigue, and you can see it's starting to really pick up in the legs of the players. And I respect that we're actually pushing a lot of the cup players to play as well. We're trying to build a depth of a squad that can lift. And I thought EIT was great when he came on. Didn't do anything overly amazing. Didn't try to assert himself as like I'm this alpha or anything. He just went and did his job. I love that. I love that about that boy. Ran his lines, did his job, and we've blooded another debutant, which is fantastic. We had 7 or 8 cup players in that team out of the combined the whole 17 to compete to the end. You got to give credit to that. But the team looks like it is a bit on fumes. It looks tired. Um, the middles forward is great, but to play him out there long, I see what Webby was trying to do. I think he was trying to accommodate for the lack of spare forwards on the field, that he just wanted to. He needed forward to play for 60 minutes, solid minutes, to try and spare an interchange, so to say, without JFH. But it just wasn't, I suppose. Yeah, it just, with forward, the longer you play him, the more you lose out at times. That's how I view it. Um, but the boys did fight hard, and that's something you give them credit for, more so than what happened against the Titans. The Titans' performance made you feel flat, but this performance made you feel energy. Like they're really passing the ball around. I enjoyed that. Just from a neutral, you're thinking, there's a bit more open playing style. Boys got a bit more energy about them. But it does speak that the team is on fumes in many senses, and we're just on that decline. Look, we've had a great start. We banked our points early, should we say? But it feels like we're kind of slowly on that decline. A lot of talk about Tanner Boyd and is he the guy? Look, I think he is what he is, and he's doing what he can in that role. Um, but it's hard to say. Is he an investment? It looks like Metcalf is the guy still. He's the one that's got that X factor. He's got the speed, and as long as he can stay healthy, he's going to be the 7 moving forward. But Tanner, I think, is doing what he's doing, but he's getting caught a lot defensively on sitting on his lead line, and that's causing a lot of pressure on the outside for the likes of Pompey and Dallin, who I thought, man, Dallin did probably his best game. To kind of shut down plays. He was sitting in the spaces, he was jamming at the right times. With Pompey there, was a bit more secure, which was great to see. Um, just going back to Tane, I loved his influence on the attack. It looks a lot better with him involved. um, but it's just that overall vibe that, man, we're just hitting a brick wall. Other teams are like kind of lifting a little bit. Their early form in the season is now catching up where they're in a good position. So, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough pill to swallow, and I feel like we are going to dip down the ladder a little bit more, which is okay by me, based on the standards of what the season was. But I think, yeah, I just think we're not playing as a top 4 team, and I think everyone can say that honestly. And that's not a discredit of the boys. I don't think that's to say that they're not worthy of a top 4. When you bank your points, you bank your points. But yeah, when you get to a finals, then better teams, no matter what position in the 8 they are, they should beat you because they're better. But I think I think there's just a little bit more left to go in this season. Look, the injuries are adding up. I'm just wondering what can Webby do just to ignite a little bit more. How many can he get that energy up again? Like Seleka and they're looking a little bit banged up. Kate Wells still, he's working hard, but he saw CNK doesn't look right. And how far in the depth chart can you go and before there's performances overall? Although you give your best, they're just not going to hold up against NRL quality standard, especially teams on the rise. You got the Bulldogs, we've got the Dragons coming up, we've got the Titans, who know how to play against us. Then you got the Eels as well. Eels, even, they look good against the Storm, majority. So it's tough battles. And then the Seagulls is always a tough challenge as well. So yeah, it doesn't look the greatest, but we got to keep fighting. We got to find something. You just never know if you can get a little bit of a boost in this back end of the season, and then you push on, and then you get something going in the latter part. You never know what it could be. So, but it does feel like the team is like not done, but it feels like okay, we've reached our max for this year, our ceiling. I'm just me as a fan. I'm just hoping that there's a little bit more. And what I did like, look, the boys threw the ball around a bit more. You can see that they kind of played a little bit less structured, a little bit more open footy. Not to say that's going to bring results, but it's nice to just see a bit more attacking flair and a bit more open play. Um, but yeah, it's a tough one to say right now. Especially coming from that high of the Sharks, you're thinking, man, with the world's our oyster, we're really going to push on here. And upon reflection, you think, I mean, those boys, Licker and Dimitrik and Laban and that, they've worked hard to get to where they are, but you can see the body's starting to. The mind is willing, but the body is weak. The flesh is weak, as they say. But I'm not going to read too much into it. I know a lot of people go into meltdown. Um, but this is the way the course nature takes itself with NRL. It's a tough competition. It's hard to maintain at the heavier levels, and only the very best do that, i.e. the Panthers, Storm. Um, but I'm still hopeful that we got more in the tank. There's more to give. There's more moments. But yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, bro, we'll catch you guys later. Leave a comment in the chat, and but hopefully that's the best I can give right now. Still backing the boys, still loving them, still loving what I'm seeing. The energy from the youth. It is building towards something bigger, but we'd love to see some more results in the short term. Anyway, up to us as always. Catch you later. Peace.